Reading from Krishna Samhita by Bhaktivinode Thakur, Chapter 9, Attaining the Feet of Lord Sri Krishna. And we left off with the end of verse 9, so we go to verse 10. Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda and lord of the spiritual and material worlds, is seen with the above-mentioned spiritual symptoms by the Vaishnavas through samadhi. A swan-like person should not disregard these spiritual features because they have shadow forms in the material world. All these spiritual features combine to further enhance the splendor of the Lord. One will see more subtle features of the Lord by entering deeper into samadhi, and one will see less variety in qualities of the Lord by entering shallower into samadhi. Unfortunately, people who are enamored by material knowledge are unable to see the spiritual form of the Lord and the variegatedness of the spiritual world, even though they attempt to see Vaikuntha through samadhi. For this reason, their spiritual cultivation is limited, and their treasure of love is very meager. Lord Sri Krishna Chandra, who is realized through samadhi, kidnaps the hearts of the gopis and maddens the spiritual and material worlds with the sound of his flute, which is the form of all attraction. How can those hearts who have been polluted by social prestige attain Krishna? The wicked pride of the material world has 6 causes: birth, beauty, qualities, knowledge, opulence, and strength. People who are overwhelmed by these 6 kinds of pride cannot take to the devotional service of the Lord. We are experiencing this every day in our life. Persons who are polluted by the pride of knowledge consider the science of Krishna very insignificant. While considering the goal of life, such people regard the happiness of Brahman to be superior to the happiness of devotional service. Persons who are devoid of pride attain the mood of gopas and gopis to enjoy with Krishna. The gopas and gopis are the authorities in the science of Krishna. The reason for using the word gopi in this verse is that in this book we are discussing the topmost rasa of conjugal love. Persons who are situated in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya rasas are also in the mood of Raj, and they realize the transcendental mellows in relationship with Krishna according to the respective moods. We're not going to elaborate on them in this book. Actually, all living entities are eligible for the mood of Raj. When one's heart is filled with the mood of Madhurya, he attains Raj in full perfection. Out of the 5 rasas, a person is naturally attracted to the rasa in which he has an eternal constitutional relationship with the Lord, and he should therefore worship the Lord in that particular mood. But in this book, we have only described the living entity's topmost mood of conjugal love. Those who have attained the mood of the gopis are called perfected beings, and those who imitate them are called practitioners. Therefore, the learned who know the absolute truth accept 2 types of sadhus: perfected beings and practitioners. We are now explaining the gradual process of sadhana for those in the mood of the gopis. When the sound of Krishna's flute enters the ear of a living entity who is wandering throughout the material world, he's attracted by the sweet sound and becomes highly qualified. Sense gratification is the materialist's primary anartha. When the sheltered give up the shelter, then they consider themselves the enjoyer of Maya. If the practitioner's propensity for enjoyment is quickly destroyed, then he can again attain the shelter of those persons who are attached to conjugal rasa and consider himself a transcendental woman to be enjoyed by the Lord. Gradually, such persons develop purva rag to such a degree that they all become almost mad. By seeing the pictures of Krishna, or by repeatedly hearing descriptions of Krishna from persons who have seen him, one's greed for attaining Krishna increases unlimitedly. When a living entity through natural knowledge experiences attraction for the Lord, this is known as hearing songs of Krishna. Realizing Krishna after scrutinizingly studying descriptions of his form narrated in the scriptures by persons who have seen Krishna is called hearing the qualities of Krishna. Seeing Krishna's artistry within the world is called seeing Krishna's picture. This material world is the reflected shadow of spiritual variegatedness. Whoever has realized this is said to have seen Krishna's picture. In other words, a person becomes a Vaishnava by three processes: seeing the Lord through natural knowledge, realizing the Lord by studying the scriptures, and seeing the Lord through his artistry. Pure faith in Krishna, who is the shelter of the moods of Raj, is called Purva Rag or Pragbhava. When this faith awakens, one achieves the association of a devotee resident of Raj. Association of the devotees is the cause for achieving Krishna. Such fortunate persons fix a love rendezvous with Krishna and then gradually proceed towards the bank of the spiritual liquid Yamuna, where they meet their beloved. By the association of Krishna, they then naturally experience such transcendental happiness that the happiness of Brahman is considered insignificant before it. At that time, the happiness of material family life becomes comparable to the water in the hoofprint of a calf before the ocean of love. Thereafter, the Lord and soul of all souls in his ever-fresh form unlimitedly increases that ocean of bliss. The Lord, who is the shelter of all rasas, always appears wonderfully ever fresh. In other words, the sheltered person's thirst for rasa increases and is never quenched. Through samadhi, great devotees have seen in the spiritual world 5 direct rasas beginning with Shanta and 7 indirect rasas beginning with heroism and compassion. Since the material world is known as the reflected shadow of the Vaikuntha world, all the imitation rasas of the material world must certainly be present in their pure forms in Vaikuntha. Now we will again deeply discuss the previously explained science of rati, attraction. Attraction is the seed of love and the principal asset for executing devotional service. The self-illuminated, perfect attachment of a living entity for the Sat Chit Ananda Lord is called attraction. The naturally perfect propensity of attachment between spiritual identities is very strong between Krishna and the living entities. This stage is called Sthayi Bhava, permanent ecstatic moods, which is the goal of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the ornamental literature of the Paramahamsas. This attraction is the subtle origin of ras, just as 1 is the origin in the process of counting numbers, yet it remains present in subsequent numbers. Similarly, in the mature stages of priti, such as prema, sneha, mana, and raga, attraction remains present as the origin. Attraction is seen as the root in all the activities of priti, while bhava and various ingredients are seen as branches and sub-branches. Therefore, attraction continually increases under the shelter of rasa. There are 12 direct and indirect rasas. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya are the 5 direct rasas. Besides the 5 direct mellows, there are 7 indirect mellows known as Hasya, laughter, Adbhuta, wonder, Vira, chivalry, Karuna, compassion, Rodra, anger, Bibhatsa, disaster, and Bhaya, fear. These 7 indirect rasas arise from the 5 direct rasas. Until attraction mixes with a particular relationship, it remains in a neutral state and cannot act. But when attraction joins with a particular relationship, it begins to manifest. The emotions that are produced by this manifestation are the indirect rasa. When rati, attraction, takes the shape of rasa, it becomes more luminous by mixing with 4 other ingredients. Although attraction is present under the shelter of rasa, it cannot manifest without the ingredients. These ingredients are of 4 types: vibhava, special ecstasy; anubhava, subordinate ecstasy; sattvika, natural ecstasy; and vyabhichari, transitory ecstasy. Vibhava is divided into the 2 categories: alambana, the support, and udapani, stimulation. Alambana may be further divided into 2: Krishna and his devotees. The qualities and characteristics of Krishna and his devotees are called udipan. Anubhav is divided into 3: alankar, ornaments of emotional love; ubhashvar, external manifestations of emotional love; and vachika, verbal manifestations of emotional love. 20 types of alankars, such as bhava, ecstasy, hava, gestures, are categorized into 3: angaja, in relation to the body; ayatmaja, in relation to the self; and swabhavaja, in relation to nature. Physical activities like drimba, yawning, nritya, dancing, and lantana, plundering, are known as udbhasvaras, external manifestations of emotional love. There are 12 vachika anubhavas, such as alapa and vilapa. There are 8 sattvika vikaras, such as stamba, being stunned, and sveda, perspiring. And there are 33 vyabhichari bhavas, such as nirveda, indifference. Attraction requires the constant support of ras and these ingredients to nourish one's relationship up to Mahabhava. This attraction for Krishna is also known as Sthayi Bhava and Bhakti Ras. Due to the conditioned soul's relationship with the material world, their attraction takes the shape of devotional service. In the liberated souls in Vaikuntha, attraction is eternally present in the form of priti, or love. The gradual stages of the development of attraction up to Mahabhava, the manifestation of attraction under the shelter of direct and indirect ras, and the unlimited ocean of sweetness created by the wonderful mixture of attraction with the above-mentioned ingredients, are the eternal wealth of liberated souls and the goal for conditioned souls. You may ask, what is the need for practicing devotional service if the spiritual blissful ras is eternal? The answer is that the attraction of the living entities has become perverted and mundane. Therefore, one has to awaken pure attraction in one's heart by practicing devotional service. Learned personalities like Vyasadeva and we ourselves have seen through samadhi that the science of attraction is most relishable for the pure living entities. Qualities of the origin are somewhat reflected in its shadow. That is why the loving affairs of this material world are the most pleasing form of material enjoyment, But the attraction between male and female of this world is very insignificant and abominable when compared to spiritual attraction. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Thus, he will quickly become sober and conquer lust, the disease of the heart. We have thus described activities up to the rasa dance and moods up to Mahabhav enjoyed between the Supreme Lord Krishna and the eternally liberated living entities. Due to associating with matter, this is the limit that our words can describe. Whatever is beyond this can be known only through samadhi. Thus ends the 9th chapter of Sri Krishna Samhita entitled Achievement of the Lotus Feet of Lord Krishna. May Lord Krishna be pleased.